Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. First of all, thank you, Dr. Suliana, for introducing me, and thank you also for PPA for inviting me, giving a talk, lecture for smart education and mDOA. As you know that at this moment we are in the PKP and we are actually looking for approach for learning. So this is one of the approach that I can recommend for regarding learning online. Yeah. So before this, I would like to, okay, now can you please go to joinmyquiz.com. I want you all to answer these questions if you can. Can you see joinmyquiz.com and enter this number 896514? Okay, so I hope you already answered a few questions regarding join my quiz. .com is one of the online portal where you can create quiz for your students and let your students try to use it. Regarding the topic that I'm presenting today is a smart educational environment and learning in Malaysian context, mDOA. So what that you understand about mobile learning? Mobile learning is one of the online learning, and this is actually you can use utility devices to assist in your learning and also your teaching. Okay, this is today what I'm going to present, the introductions, the background definitions, why it's important, the objectives, the novelty, practicality, the framework, the design, opportunities and application, the current work, future works, and the references. So in the introduction, due to the rapid improvements in technology, university academics and students require high quality of learning experience via smart educational environment. As you know that in the Malaysian context, 87% of the region is covered by the internet. However, there are also challenges regarding this coverage because about 17% is still not yet covered. And also, there are also devices that is not available by the students. So the strategy has the potential if, let's say, we introduce the student with mobile learning, has the potential to enhance the mobile learning and learning experience. As you know that there are lots of devices. You can use Samsung, you can use iPhone, you can use tabs, you can use all sorts of gadgets that are available in the market today. And basically some of the students use bring your own device approaches, means that they bring their own mobile phones or their own devices, or they can share it with their friends or their family. So the study over this lecture is I'm going to present is about due to the scarcity of local content in M-learning for the local context. Means that when I conducted first this study, I saw that there are very lack of digital online learning for mobile learning for mobile content, especially for Malaysian context. Because you can see those content is available, but available for the Western country like the Europe and the USA. So due to the scarcity of the local content, so the study has been conducted. So the study is presents the framework of the smart educational environment through student-generated content and also cultural appropriate design. So this study is a fusion of the pedagogical aspect approach and also human-computer interaction approach through the design. So the background here, due to the lack of mobile learning, a study that has been conducted by me in 2014, we have investigated that there is a lack of local content in Malaysia regarding the STEMs or non-STEM subjects. All the subjects, we found that there's very limitations in the digital content availability. Okay, now where are we? We are now going through the introduction of this topic regarding mobile learning experience. And the study has been conducted due to the scarcity of local content for M-learning for the local context. Because during this study was first conducted, I found out there are very limitation of finding the local content, especially for learning local cultural subjects. And after that, I conducted another study to find out that there is also lack of local content for the STEM subject or the science, technology, engineering, mathematics subjects. So what happened is that at this moment, the only thing that one of the possible solutions to reach out all the students in Malaysia regarding during the PKP is through TV Pendidikan, and they are through the YB Dr. Razi Jidin, they are producing actually quite a lot of this TV Pendidikan content, and they are still in the recording phase to record for the content. Okay, back to the topic that I'm presenting here. The topic that I'm presenting here regarding the smart educational environment mDOA, we are also talking about the fusions of the smart educational environment that involve pedagogical approach and also the human-computer interaction approach through the design. So the lack of cultural appropriate design guidelines for the local context. So when we want to create the content for the local context, previous study from Young highlights that one of the important challenges for using mobile learning comes from the lack of guidelines for acknowledging local culture in information technology design. And there is also lack of user interface design guidelines for mobile applications for use in Malaysia. Also, there are lack of pedagogical mobile learning practices in student-generated activities for local context. So it's supported by a study from Seoul, reporting for the UNESCO lack of learning using mobile devices, especially in the Asia region. Because during the study was conducted, there are very lacking of content for learning, especially for mobile content. So why is this study important? Because we as a lecturer or we as an educator need to know, understand, or we as a developer or designer, we need to understand what the user needs and the user experience are. Mobile developers can actually look into the design guidelines in the Malaysian context and create awareness of using mobile learning for local culture. And then you also enhance the student-generated activities for mobile learning for students to participate actively, and the academics and students could benefit from having a more suitable application. So the objectives from this lecture is to understand the insights for local cultural principle design for smart educational environment, to investigate student-generated activities factors in a local smart educational environment. So the definitions, some important definitions that I'm going to repeat again and again in this presentation is from the smart educational environment components according to Zhu et al. 2016. In this research has defined that seamless connections is providing a continuous service when any device connects. For example, the use of wireless technology where the learning process takes place. As you know that the Malaysia environment, there are only 87% coverage of wireless. That another 70% is not covered. So means that it's difficult for students, those from rural areas and those are from the income B40 and below, to have a mobile phone or mobile device for their learning. So let's say in their family, maybe they have only one or two mobile or smartphones. So it's very difficult for them to share. Likewise, you still need seamless connection, wireless, in order for the mobile learning to happen. Okay, and according to Zhu et al. 2016, he also said that the socially aware environment also is needed in the smart educational environment, which is an environment where there is a sense of social relationships. So means that there is a communication between the lecturer and the students, and between the students and the students. And for instance, you can use also for the socially aware using social media for communication, such as Facebook and also WhatsApp. Another definition for smart educational environment components are regarding as defined by Zhu, high engagement. High engagements mean immersion in multi-directional learning experience using mobile devices. For example, the use of mobile devices such as smartphones, laptops, camera, iPads, and tablets. So there is a high engagement. The definitions for student-generated content is SGC means you promote a digital learning environment where the students are the prosumer, which is both content producer and the consumer. So instead of the lecturer giving all the content to produce, the students, if they have some prerequisite or basic multimedia knowledge, or they have some ICT background knowledge of editing pictures or editing videos, and everyone else in Malaysia now having smartphones, I think they don't have any high difficulty to produce local content or creating a content. So in the student-generated content, means the students themselves are producing, collaborating, and sharing their works, and they can share it with their other students and also their lecturers. I reminded you just now, this student-generated content is come from the pedagogy theory of learning from the experience, or from the COP. So what is the COP learning experience actually emphasize on? He emphasized on the active experience, where create multimedia content using mobile devices for STEM. For example, previously I conducted a study regarding STEMs, so they can connect and they can do assignments, and then for the labs work and field work, the evidences, they recorded it using the mobile devices. After that, they consolidate what have they have found, or they have investigated multimedia content in the reflection in the form of report or presentation. So it can be a video, photographs, and audio. They are going to select which one is actually suitable for the content. And thirdly, there is an abstract conceptualization, means that they have better understanding of the knowledge from the theory. So for example, they after they do the storyboard, or they do the lining of the photograph or the video, they are going to connect with the process of science. For example, in the science, maybe there is what is the prerequisite, what is steps A, maybe what is the next steps B, and what is next step C. And then they consolidate that based on the principle or the theory of the knowledge of the subjects that they learn. So that is considered the abstract conceptualization. After that, they can apply the knowledge to a new strategy, to other similar or major assignment, or they can apply this knowledge in the real world when they are working. So this is from the co-op learning experience, and from how that the cultural appropriate design is going to integrate with this pedagogical theory approach. They are going to be integrated during the content creation. So there are principles or guidelines that you need to follow that can be embedded to the content creation. So in the definitions of this student-generated content, the role of the lecturer or the academia is facilitating. So instead of you asking or you doing all the thing for the student, so let the student discuss among themselves, let the student problem solve the issue or the experiments that they want to do with the facilitating from the academic. So means the role of the academic is still there, it's just that they're going to facilitate the students. So the academic takes on the role of facilitator, encouraging the students to search for a deeper understanding of the subject matter via discussion or analysis in forms of seminars or lectures. So definitions, we continue. For students, a wide range of cognitive disciplines are needed to successfully filter subject reading material and to identify content useful for the presentation to their peers, for the peer assessment, and also for the cross-examinations. So in here, we know that when you create a student-generated content, you need a lot of thinking happening over here, discussion. So it's not a low-level thinking, it's more higher order thinking, because you're going to create and present the content. So the purpose of the student-generated content is when you have students create or generate content, you move them from being consumer to being prosumer. Prosumer is what does it mean? It means the producer and consumer of content as they create, so they can collaborate and share with other students and also other instructors. So the content students create can even be used for future offerings of the course or in a real world project. So the content you can keep into the repository. Maybe you can have a selections that you, for your own subjects, you put into the YouTube or your Facebook, so you can refer it to the future students from the library of video or the library of work that the student has been conducted. So what is the benefits of the student-generated content for your students are far enriching and valuable. So it moves you from watching or reading content passively to creating it. So the students, instead of being passive, it being active. So as you can see from this picture, this students is creating the science experiments. So ensuring better content for retention and richer understanding, give students ownership over their learning, provide real-world audiences and application for their work, allow them to produce a work of lasting values, help them to build project management skills. Because not only they create content over here, they need also to manage a group of people. So a group of people maybe have different talents. Maybe one of them know to create a photo very good, and another one is very good in talking, another one is good in writing. So they can have a pool of talents where they actually need to discuss among themselves, organize themselves within the group. Also, they need to think on how they need to approach to solve the particular problem and then create a content for this particular subject. Okay, just now I have talked about the definition of student-generated. Now we continue to what is cultural appropriate design guidelines. So what is the cultural appropriate design guidelines? Stands for CADG. CADG is the fusion of existing design guidelines, which is come from the guidelines that you normally use from the Western perspective, like the Nielsen design guidelines, and you fusion it with the local cultural principle or aspect. So for example, this study also inspired from the literature of the local literature. From the previous literature, there's no interconnecting at all with mobile learning and mobile technology regarding the local language. So we propose to have the local language, for example, local bahasa Malaysia or bahasa Melayu, to play an important role in creating the content. So you can have dual or bilingual with having the Malay language or having the subtitle in English, or in the other way around, the they are speaking in English, or maybe the subtitle they can have in Malay. So previously, there are very less application that have content with the Malay or Bahasa Melayu content. So we propose that. Another one is that from the literature, there's no interconnecting with local philosophy. So local philosophy, for example, we connect from the local perspective, that the local philosophy relates to the nature, and also some also relates with the Islamic philosophy. This is taken from Dasar Kebudayaan Negara. Yeah? If you read from Dasar Kebudayaan Negara, or we can call it the guidelines for the national heritage that has been created, I think, early 80s, about regarding what are the principles for the heritage that we need to implement for the principle of Malaysia. Actually, this one is related to the Rukun Negara. So Rukun Negara, we have belief in God and so on. Yeah? So these are all the aspects that we consider when creating local content, even though it's not very directly, but it is very subtly you can embed those elements. So it means that if you see the application, you can differentiate whether your applications come from Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, or it come from China or India or Western countries, because you need to have something that has your own identity. Okay, another one is the local aesthetic value. Local aesthetic value, you can embed the local flora and fauna. For example, in Malaysia, the local flora and fauna is very much appreciated, and we also appreciate that some color have their own meanings that you can have it into your content. So for example, what are those content that you need? For example, I'm from Malacca, so I look for maybe a flower that is very common in Malacca, maybe bunga tanjung or something, and I create a motif for those aesthetic value, and I can embed that into my user interface. So means that I know, oh, this person maybe come from this region because they use these types of aesthetic flora and fauna. Okay, local cultural contents highlights the importance of the local subjects. So for example, this software, a game software regarding on how this person is learning science, but having a local character to play science. This is Awang is a character of a local Malay boy, which plays science and doing experiments, and he learned it by using games. And this is for primary school year 4. Yeah? And another one, as you know, that there is lots of local cultural design elements embedded in lessons, and that can motivate students in learning language. You can know that there's a popular cartoon character like Ipin. Even though I have been to Bali, they asked me from where, the kids asked me from where I was. I said, I am from Malaysia. Oh, you're from Ipin. They don't say, I don't know where are you. They know that you're from Ipin and Ipin. So you know that this local cultural design elements is very strong if they appreciate it. Yeah. Also, mobile application motivated learning Jawi for kids at school. This has been conducted by study from DIA in 2011. Okay, the novelty and inventiveness here is the mDOA framework to be applied into the educational subjects to introduce and sustain best practice of mobile learning, pedagogy in education, and also having a cultural design guidelines to assist in development of local content. The practicality contribute to develop more local content in mobile learning. So when you have this kind of guidelines, you can use it to create the content. So you have your own identity. Rather than that, you pick up some example from Europe, maybe you're showing some people is playing ski, but those people cannot relate it with those life in their lifestyle. Maybe why not you use some character aspect that relates to your own village or your own kampong or something like that, yeah? And you promote it to the world. Creating a mobile learning pedagogical best practices in student-related activities for students, academics, and policy makers. So the policy makers can also see these guidelines, and they can use it when they're creating a local content. To provide a design guideline for mobile development, so a developer also can use this guideline whenever they want to develop or create a content for student, academics, mobile designers, and mobile developers. So what is inside mDOA? So mDOA stands for Design, Opportunities, and the Activities or Applications. So there is involved with the cultural appropriate design, which is having a local language, local philosophy, local content, local aesthetic, and additionally, we also need to acknowledge the general usability guidelines from the Western, such as like Nielsen, which is like efficiency, effectiveness, error recovery, and those all is still important in the cultural appropriate design. Also, in the opportunities, we need to relate it with how we can relate from the design to the opportunities that we do in daily tasks. And then we need to know what is the multimedia functions that normally you can use for this, not only for videos, maybe for other aspects of content creations. And then you have the opportunities for the practices, and also you can have the opportunities for bring your own device, since that the ownership of mobile phones in Malaysia is 137% for all the citizens. So means that we have more mobile devices than the people, the citizens in Malaysia. So you can make the benefits of bring your own device in the opportunities. So that is the opportunities for the applications or the benefits. We empower the students to become content creation. So the students not only learn through the normal conventional way, they also learn by having a group discussion where they more actively participates in creating the content. It also increases the awareness of using, creating this new knowledge. Also, it involves student activity and collaborations. Not only that, they have a better understanding of the subjects. The students that I interviewed from my previous research, they are saying that this is first time they do this kind of approach, or they very liken it to be embedding to the subjects, and they can understand better than previously. Like when they read books, they don't understand at all, but when they participate and when they actively discuss and when they actively actually produce something, they are having a better understanding of the subject. So this is a framework for a smart educational environment for local context. Okay, regarding cultural appropriate design guideline, we zoom it into what is inside this principle. As I mentioned just now, it involves the fusions of the local context and also the general usability, such as accessibility. Your content must be accessible. The content must be consistent. There's content must be efficient and flexible. The content must have some sort of like error prevention, must have a readability, it's not too small, you can zoom it. And also for regarding the cultural aspect, you look into what is the philosophy besides having the content. What are the languages that you use? For example, bilingual languages, what are the aesthetic value that you want to embed it? What is the appropriate content for that particular subjects? So these are the some of the previous study where the students create applications. Let's say this is for batik, this is for songket, this is Yawi. Okay, we go one by one. The principle of the cultural appropriate design guideline. Accessibility, the content need to be accessible, means you can get it anytime, anywhere, and it can be reachable from your devices. The content must be consistent, means that if you have the interface having a same arrangement, it should be consistent throughout the interface. Efficiency means is going to respond of what you need. I mean, it's very quick. Error prevention is not shutting down your system suddenly. It must have something like a warning, some sort of, yeah. Ergonomics means you can carry it anywhere. You get portable. It's easy to handle. It's not difficult for you. Compared to previously during my study undergraduates in late 1990s, the mobile phone is very big, it's large, it's as size is like a book size. So when you have those type of size and you bring into your bag, it's very heavy. So you are very difficult as well. So right now you have more ergonomics or more suitable devices that you can carry anywhere. Readability, make sure when you design the content, you make sure your content can be readable, can be zoomed, suitable content based on the subjects. This learning science, but through games. Aesthetic value, it has some approach of local aspects of aesthetic. For example, the use of colors, the use of characters. Local language, it also approach here using Bahasa Malaysia, because before this there's no Bahasa Malaysia in Kemahiran program Science Town. But so the student has actually have created a games application which is in the Bahasa Melayu. Actually, you can also have bilingual language, or like English or other languages to be embedded. Local philosophy, as you know, it looks into, for example, what is the local philosophy in Malaysia? For example, you have a local philosophy for the wood, yeah, for the plant. Let's say the plant, what does it mean? It means that something is relating to the god. Okay, the God has created a seed, and the seed actually grow. The grow become a tree. So everything is come from a source. So there is source. What I'm talking now is a philosophy of a plant, and this is a very known, well-known philosophy, and it's also related to the Islamic philosophy, and it's also related to the rukun negara, which is kepercayaan kepada Tuhan, or belief in God. Okay, some of the examples of the heuristic guidelines that from here, it shows the higher means has been got for this application. So you can see all the means is more than 4.17, 4.127, 3.8. The result of this application is got 3.8 for this Jawi, because they don't have the helps. So when they during that time, there's no helps for the ads. So when there's no helps, there's no guide. So it has a low rating compared to other, where batik and songket. Batik is more appreciated from the songket because it's more functional from the songket. Okay, so this also shows that greater means for just now for the lecturer. This one tested by the students. Okay, it's now I'm talking about the design. Now I'm talking about the opportunities of student-generated activities. What is the meaningful value to daily tasks and activities? For here, it helps in undertaking tasks related to the daily activities of the students. So means every day, students already have their own devices. They have already making some activities using the devices. So there is a potential to be applied to the mobile learning, and also can be used for the students' personal development. So for example, they want to learn new skills. They can easily go and find from the YouTube or from the portal like Coursera, like Udemy, they can learn by themselves. So knowledge is available anywhere, and some are giving it for free. Yeah, even the library, also National Library, giving the digital book, so the students can actually read the PDF form of the books. Multimedia functions and their learning potential. So all the students, as you know, they like to take photo, to take selfie, and all those. So from those daily activity, they have potentially to develop their own video, and they are more active and adventurous, yeah, compared to the generation X or generation. This new generation is more active and adventurous. Opportunities for mobile learning practice. So the student can use it for revision when they see the video, or for the notes, for example, for learning the subjects, they can revise. And there's opportunities to adopt wider range of mobile learning activities. They can also use it for different types of revisions. They can also use it for creating content. So there are more wider options to range of mobile learning activities. Give convenience for students due to portability and time saving. So students, when they're having this mobile device, is portable, and it's also time saving for them to carry this mobile device anywhere. Yeah? Bring your own device, also related for the students, how they bring their device. When this study was conducted, there's no exactly what is the guidelines or policies implementing beyond. Yeah? Bring your own device. It may reduce costs for institutions in purchasing mobile devices for mobile learning. So for this is more practical for university, where the student can use their own device for learning. For daily activities here, we know that we always use the devices to, for example, we use Google Map, we use also YouTube, also we use also to record important events. Also for personal development, such as from this picture, it shows you that this student can learn audio technology, or they can use on how to use the audio. So they get use of recording using videos. Also, this one can be harnessed into a smart educational environment. Students can be more active and adventurous, and it's also opportunities for revisions and more wider activities. They can also investigate using their mobile devices and looking into the contents and discuss with their friends. And also the opportunities, convenience, and portabilities. However, there's no existing policy for the bring your own device during this study was conducted. And bringing your own device can reduce the cost. Okay, some example from the previous study shows that there are respondents, and you can see from here the mobile phones they use from this faculty, from my faculty, Faculty of Arts, Computing and Industry Creative, and Faculty of Science and Mathematics. It shows that Samsung phones has the highest ownership compared to iPhone, which is 28.3%, and we have Lenovo, Asus, and Nokia. Looks like the Android phones is much more higher ownership compared to the iPhone brand. For the type of OS, you can see from here also, the number of students using Android phone is 84.3% compared to other operating systems like Apple's having a 26%. For mobile software, for social media and so, you can see that the highest one is the WhatsApp, which is the usage, there was 97.6% from the students have used WhatsApp, YouTube 89%, Facebook 87.4%. They used to tell that the Facebook is much more suitable for the older generation, where the older generation like to fight at the Facebook compared to the other more usable for the younger generations. Okay, and then there are also camera, Gmail, calculator, they use SMS, they use the portal, they use the MP3 player, and they use the Google Maps. So in the application sections, there's now what are empowering the students? The students are empowered to complete their assignments using mobile devices, develop a new multimedia skills, achieve a better learning outcomes. Students are engaged, actively involved in the student-related activities. So from here, investigate from the lecturers, they say that the students have better achievement and better understanding or better learning than before. Yeah? So they produce a better assignments. So increase awareness of mobile learning. So they can use the mobile phones for learning purposes, because before this, they only use it for only social interaction, and now they can share the educational resources, and the students can have activity and collaborations. They are more aware of the variety of mobile learning types, because before this, they don't know that, oh, I'm using video, this is not mobile learning. They consider that it's only an activity, that they don't know that that is mobile learning. Actually, using video, creating a content for video is one of the mobile learning types. Yeah? So they can have better quality of learning. Before this, they only write on the report, and now they can have something, a digital format. Academics are more open and encourage their students to use the mobile phones. Before this, there are very skeptical academics. Skeptical means they don't like to use technology. They don't feel that the students can actually learn anything from this device, but after they see the students produce some digital or the video or the content, they are more believe that, okay, this technology embedded to the subjects has assisted the students in the process of learning, and they encourage also to use it in the subjects. Yeah? So the students can have better understanding of the subjects. Learning improved due to the use of student-related activities. Academics acknowledge that the students has completed their assignments very well. So like this is a student captured video, and this is developed multimedia skills. So this group is actually from medical students of public health group. Yeah? Public health, now we are having a PKP during COVID-19, right? So what is the public health students is supposed to do? Yeah? They are future doctors. So they are going to create video for creating awareness, and one of the potential also they can create also video for COVID-19 and make aware of the public, especially those don't understand what is the danger of the social distancing, for example, stay at home. So these are the potential areas. But previously, this is one of the example of the video that they created, like the anti-smoking sound. Yeah? So they have made some videos, also videos from robotic class. And this is another video from the public health student. They create a mental health, because during this PKP, the students or maybe the parents or the lecturer, or especially the students, they are not in a stable kind of emotions. Yeah, probably they are caught up in the room, or they caught up in the house. They don't know what to do, and they feel depressed. So what happens when they feel depressed? So they maybe do engage in something anti-socially, or something maybe they have some negative aspects. So if they say they see and they have opportunity to see some of the tips, let's say very short motivator video regarding mental health, actually they can have some form of guidelines, or they know that this is very negative in the emotions or in their thought. So what they should supposed to be done. So they have some sort of tips for them to overcome the mental health, like they need to voice out their opinion, their worries. They need to talk to someone. Yeah. So they need to do some activities. So these are aspects. This can be made aware through the student-generated activities. So they can apply and have like a blogs to apply to the social media. Like for example, previously there's no blogs or content generated for history subject. So in this study, we initiate the blogs for them. And also for the cooking class, there's a portal for them to upload the video during this study was conducted. A student activity that they collaborate with one another, they have more awareness of the study, and students create a better quality of learning. So actually from here, it demonstrates the biology students allocating different types of liquid of this aloe vera, filter, and tap water during a science experiment. So they use mobile video using a microscope to evaluate the results. So they capture these results, the process, using the photo that they have from the mobile phones. Yeah? So they can see what is the typical bacteria, E. coli, Staphylococcus, and bacteria not found in this certain amount of gel. So academics are more open, better understanding. Students have been assigned to develop multimedia content for developing PC. Learning improve. For example, before this, they don't have step-by-step on how to perform ablution. Yeah? So they have the steps-by-steps process where they record it using their own video and they edited it and they uploaded it into a social media. So the academics also acknowledge the students perform well if they created research activities. So from the student-generated activities, you can see that student has recorded video, recorded audio, take photo, edit video, edit audio, and edit photo. And the mean that you can see the highest is from take photo, because students like to take photo, followed by recording the video, and then record the audio. So in the learning principles, you can see that this is related back to the COP learning cycles. And these are the importance of the mean. So you can see the highest score mean is at analyze and conceptualize to do the assignments. Okay, challenges. What are the challenges from the previous study, the study of regarding student-generated activities? The challenges you can see here, high wireless. So we have a very high mean for wireless problem. So we have a problem for wireless, battery not enough, sufficient to edit and produce a video. They might have lacking of the skills, and small screen and the phone hang. Yeah? So these are the some aspect of the challenges discovered from the study. So from the study, we also have done the FRGS for identifying the contribution of student activities for STEM, bringing your own device approach for local educational context. And the current work, as you can see, this is augmented reality. We apply it the context or the concept of the cultural appropriate design guidelines to the augmented reality. And we also have the student to test from NCDR's, the National Childhood Development Research Center, to test the augmented reality. And we also have the games application that embeds the science. Okay, for the future works, you can have a book perhaps for this study. And cultural design guidelines has been copyrighted. This is the number of the copyright and applications of this for more future content development for selected subjects. All right, can everyone participate to this summarize what I've taught today? For the Q&A, if you have any questions, please do ask.